Pack your bags, Dad. We're selling the house. My son Derek stood in my living room like he owned it. Maybe he thought he did. His wife Amanda sat on the couch, my couch, the one Margaret and I had picked out in 1987, scrolling through her phone. She didn't look up when Derek made his announcement, just kept tapping. I set down my coffee, didn't spill a drop. Is that so? The realtor's coming Thursday to do the assessment. Amanda found a great assisted living place. They have bingo on Tuesdays. He said it like he was doing me a favor, like I should be grateful. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. I'd made Derek breakfast that morning. Eggs and toast, same as I'd made for him every Saturday when he was growing up. He'd texted Wednesday night. Can I come by tomorrow? Need to talk. I figured maybe he wanted to borrow money again. Or maybe he'd finally remembered it had been 8 months since his last visit. Should have known better. Assisted living, I said. Tasted the words. They were bitter. It's time, Dad. You're 71. This house is too much for you. Derek walked to the window, put his hands on the frame like he was measuring it. Amanda and I have been talking to a financial planner. The property's assessed at $420,000. That's a lot of equity just sitting here. Sitting here, I repeated. We could invest it. Get you set up somewhere safe, somewhere with staff, medical care on site. He turned back to me, smiled. The same smile he'd used when he was 16 and wanted to borrow the truck. You'd love it. They have activities. Amanda finally looked up from her phone. It's really nice, William. I took a virtual tour. They have a library. I'd built this house in 1976. Every board, every nail. Took me 3 years working nights after my shift at the plant. Margaret had been pregnant with Derek when I poured the foundation. She'd stood there with her hand on her belly, 7 months along, watching me level the concrete. When were you planning to tell me about this decision? I asked. Derek laughed, short, sharp. I'm telling you now. I mean, before you called the realtor. Dad, he used his patient voice, the one that made me feel small. We're trying to help you. This place is falling apart. The roof needs work. The furnace is what, 30 years old? You can't maintain it anymore. The roof was fine. I'd replaced 12 shingles in October after that windstorm. The furnace was 18 years old, and I'd serviced it myself every fall since I installed it. But Derek wouldn't know that. He hadn't been here in October. Hadn't been here in February either, when the furnace was running perfect through that cold snap. And you need the money, I said. Wasn't a question. Amanda's head snapped up. Derek's face went tight. This isn't about money, Derek said. This is about your safety, your well-being. Right. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, poured myself another cup of coffee from the pot. My hands were steady. That surprised me. The assisted living place. How much does it run monthly? $3,200, Amanda said. But they have different tiers. You could do the basic package. And what happens to the other $400,000 after you set aside enough for my basic package? Silence. The clock ticked on the wall. Same clock that had been there for 43 years. Margaret had bought it at a yard sale the week after we moved in. She'd loved that clock. Well, Derek said finally, we'd manage it for you. Make sure it's invested properly. You don't need to worry about the details. Manage it. Dad, you're not good with this stuff. Money management, financial planning. That's what Amanda does for a living. She knows how to make money work. I turned around, leaned against the counter, looked at my son, really looked at him. He was wearing a suit, expensive. His watch was new. I hadn't seen that watch before. Amanda's purse was on the couch next to her. Designer. I knew because Margaret used to point them out in stores. Never bought one. Said they were silly expensive. What happened to the $15,000? I asked. Derek blinked. What? January 2022. You needed $15,000 for the business. The consulting thing you were starting. Said it was a sure thing. That was different. How much did I give you for the wedding? Dad, that was $42,000. You wanted the venue on the lake. Amanda wanted the dress from that boutique in the city. Open bar, band instead of a DJ. I wrote the check. Amanda was looking at her phone again, or pretending to. And the down payment on your condo. I continued. My voice was level, calm. That was $68,000. Because you wanted to be in the right neighborhood. Good schools for the kids you were planning to have. Why are you bringing this up? Just wondering about your financial planning skills. Given that you've been managing my money for the past 6 years. Derek's face was red now. I never asked you for that money. You offered. Did I? Yes. You said you wanted to help. You said family takes care of family. He was right about that. I had said that. Margaret and I had talked about it before she died. She'd held my hand in the hospital bed. 4th stage pancreatic. 6 months from diagnosis to gone. Help Derek when we're not here, she'd said. He'll need it. So I had. I'd helped. The business failed, I said. Consulting thing. How long did that last? 11 months. The market shifted. It wasn't, and you never paid it back. It was an investment, Dad. Investments have risk. An investment in you. That's not fair. I drank my coffee. It had gone cold. When's the last time you called me? Before Wednesday. Derek's jaw tightened. I don't know. Couple weeks? Try December. You called December 18th because you needed to know where I kept the title to Mom's car. Said you wanted to make sure it was properly registered after she died. So? So you sold it 3 days later? Didn't tell me. Just sold it. Margaret's car. She'd had that car for 9 years. Loved that car. It was just sitting in your garage. It was hers. Amanda stood up, smoothed her skirt. William, I think you're getting upset. Maybe we should continue this conversation when you've had time to process. Process what? That my son showed up to tell me he's selling my house? It's not about selling. Derek stepped closer. It's about making sure you're taken care of. You're alone here. What if you fall? What if something happens? You mean what if something happens before you get the money? That's... Jesus Christ, Dad. Why are you being like this? Like what? Difficult. Paranoid. This isn't like you. I set down my coffee cup, walked past Derek to the closet by the front door, pulled out a folder I'd put there Thursday morning, brought it back to the kitchen table, set it down. What's that? Derek asked. Paperwork. What kind of paperwork? I opened the folder, pulled out the first page. It was a deed, dated September 2023, 8 months ago. I'd gone to the county office myself, filled out every form, paid the transfer fee. This house was never in your name, I said. Never in the will, never promised to you. Derek stared at the paper. What are you talking about? I transferred ownership. September 14th. Took about 6 weeks to process. To who? Sarah. His face went white. Sarah. Your sister. I know who Sarah is. His voice was sharp now, angry. Why the hell would you do that? Because she's the one who calls every Sunday. She's the one who drove 4 hours each way to help me clean out your mother's things after she died. She's the one who comes for Christmas and stays for 3 days, brings her kids, lets them run around this house like Margaret and I always hoped grandkids would. Sarah has her own house. She doesn't need... Neither do you. You have the condo, the one I helped you buy. Amanda had her phone out, was typing fast, probably texting Sarah, or her lawyer, or both. You can't do this, Derek said. Already did. I'm your son. Yes. Mom would want... Don't. My voice came out harder than I meant it to. Don't you dare tell me what your mother would want. She's the one who sat with Sarah every weekend while Sarah went through her divorce. She's the one who made dinner for Sarah's kids when Sarah was working double shifts to keep her house. Your mother knew who showed up. Derek was breathing hard. His hands were in fists. This is because we didn't visit enough? You're punishing me because... This isn't punishment. This is a decision, one I made months ago. We'll contest it. It's undue influence. You were grieving. You weren't thinking clearly. I pulled out another paper. Cognitive evaluation. Dated September 8th. Week before I transferred the deed. Perfect score. Dr. Morrison signed off. Said I showed no signs of diminished capacity, confusion, or susceptibility to coercion. You planned this. Derek's voice was quiet now. Dangerous. You set this up. I protected what's mine. It's supposed to be mine. I'm your son. I'm supposed to inherit. You're supposed to show up. You're supposed to call. You're supposed to act like I'm your father instead of an ATM. Amanda tugged Derek's arm. We should go. Call Stephen. Stephen, their lawyer. Of course they had a lawyer. But Derek wasn't moving. How much did you give her? What? Sarah, how much did you give her? Because if you gave me $125,000 over 6 years, I'm guessing she got her share too. I helped Sarah when she needed help. That's not an answer. She didn't need much. Didn't ask for much. Paid back what I loaned her for the car. Sends me money every month. $100. I told her not to. She said it's for groceries when she visits. Derek laughed. Sharp, bitter. So, that's it. She played the good daughter, kissed your ass just enough to get the house. She didn't know about the house until today. I'm telling her this afternoon. Bullshit. Call her. Ask her. He did, right there. Pulled out his phone, dialed, put it on speaker. Sarah answered on the third ring. Hey, Derek, what's up? Did you know about the house? Silence. Then, what house? Dad's house. Did you know he signed it over to you? More silence. Longer this time. He what? I could hear the confusion in her voice. Real confusion, not performed. September, Derek said. He transferred ownership. You're telling me you didn't know? Derek, I have no idea what you're talking about, Dad. I walked closer to the phone. Hi, sweetheart. What's he talking about? I was going to tell you today. When you came for Sunday dinner, I transferred the house to you back in September. I heard her breath catch. Why? Because you're the one who shows up. Dad, I don't... We'll talk later, I said. You're still coming at 3? Yes, but see you then. I reached over and ended the call. Derek was staring at me. You blindsided her too. I didn't want her to feel obligated. Didn't want her to act different. And me? What am I supposed to do now? We had plans. We were counting on... That's the problem. You were counting on something that was never yours. Amanda had her purse over her shoulder. This is elder abuse. Financial manipulation. We're calling Adult Protective Services. I pulled out a third paper. Letter from my attorney, dated September 20th, states that I'm of sound mind, acting of my own free will, and that this transfer is being done without coercion or manipulation. It's signed by my lawyer, my doctor, and 2 witnesses who aren't family members. You really thought of everything. Derek's voice was quiet again. I thought about what mattered. And I don't matter. You matter. You're my son, but you treated me like an inheritance waiting to happen. That's not fair. You showed up this morning to tell me you're selling my house. Didn't ask. Told. How is that fair? Amanda pulled Derek toward the door. We're leaving. This is ridiculous. But Derek didn't move. He was looking at me. Really looking. Maybe for the first time in years. When Mom died, he said slowly, you told me to take her jewelry, the good pieces. You said you wanted me to have them. For Amanda. I did. You said family takes care of family. I did. So what changed? I picked up my cold coffee, dumped it in the sink, started a fresh pot. You stopped being family, started being a creditor. That's December, when you sold your mother's car. You didn't ask if I wanted to keep it. Didn't ask if maybe I liked having it in the garage because it reminded me of her. You just sold it. Sent me a text 2 days later. Got $8,000 for Mom's car. Thanks for keeping it maintained. You weren't driving it. I was keeping it. There's a difference. The coffee pot started to gurgle. Fill the kitchen with that smell Margaret had always loved. She'd made coffee every morning for 47 years, always had a pot ready when I came home from night shift. Some mornings I still reached for 2 cups before I remembered. January, I continued. Your birthday. Sarah sent a card. Called. Came over that weekend with a cake she'd baked. Gluten-free because she remembered I was having trouble with wheat. You texted. Happy birthday, Dad. 3 words. 11 days late. I was busy. March. Anniversary of your mother's death. Sarah drove up. Spent the whole day with me. We went to the cemetery, put flowers on the grave. Came back here and looked through photos, told stories. You sent a text. Thinking of Mom today. That was it. Jesus Christ, Dad. I'm sorry I'm not perfect. I'm sorry I have a job, a life. I can't drop everything every time. I'm not asking you to drop everything. I'm asking you to show up sometimes. To call, to act like I'm a person instead of a bank. Derek's phone buzzed. He looked at it. Stephen says we can fight this. The transfer says there's precedent for overturning deeds signed under emotional duress. Go ahead. What? Fight it. Hire Stephen. Contest the transfer. Bring in your financial planner wife to testify that I'm incompetent. We're not saying you're incompetent. Just not thinking clearly. Not good with details. Not able to maintain my own house. That's what you said an hour ago. Amanda was at the door now. Derek, let's go. But Derek was still standing there, looking at me. Something was working behind his eyes. Calculation. What if we visit more? What if we… No. Dad, no. You don't get to negotiate. You don't get to promise to be a better son in exchange for the house. That's not how this works. Then how does it work? You leave. You think about why you came here this morning. You think about what you were willing to do to get money that was never yours. And then you decide what kind of person you want to be. And the house stays with Sarah. His jaw tightened. Fine. Fine. Keep the house. Give Sarah everything. See if I care. He walked to the door. Amanda was already outside. He stopped at the threshold. Turned back. You know what? You're right. I did treat you like a bank. You know why? Because that's all you were good for. Every time I tried to talk to you about anything real, you just sat there. After Mom died, I tried. I came over, tried to talk about feelings and grief and you just nodded, made coffee, changed the subject. You came over twice. It was hard, Dad. Seeing you alone in this house, seeing all her stuff still here. It hurt. So you sold her car. I was trying to help you move on. By taking away the things that reminded me of her? Yes, Jesus, yes. Is that so wrong? I looked at my son, 43 years old, standing in the doorway of the house I'd built before he was born, wearing his expensive suit, his new watch, his anger and his excuses. Yes, I said quietly. It is. He left, slammed the door hard enough that the clock rattled on the wall. I stood there for a long time, listening to the house settle. The coffee pot had finished brewing. I poured a cup, sat at the kitchen table. Same table where I'd helped Derek with his homework, where Margaret and I had done our taxes every April, where she'd sat with me the night before she died, holding my hand, making me promise I'd be okay. My phone buzzed. Text from Derek. We're contacting our lawyer. This isn't over. I didn't respond. Another text. You're making a mistake. I set down the phone. Third text. Sarah doesn't even want the house. She told me. She's going to give it back to you and you're going to look like an idiot. I knew Sarah better than that. She'd accept the house because I'd given it to her. She'd probably cry, probably try to refuse, but she'd accept it because she knew what it meant. Not the money, the trust. I pulled out my phone, called her. She answered immediately. Dad. Hi, sweetheart. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. It's too much. The house, it's yours. Has been since September. But Derek showed up this morning to tell me he was selling it. Told me he'd found an assisted living place. Had a realtor coming Thursday. Silence. Then, oh my God. He didn't know I'd transferred it. Thought it was still mine. Thought he could just… I stopped. Took a breath. He thought he had the right. Dad, I'm so sorry. Nothing for you to be sorry about. But he's my brother. I should have… I don't know. I should have known he was planning something. You couldn't have known. Still, I'm sorry. We were quiet. For a moment, I could hear her breathing. Shaky. She was crying. "You gonna be here at 3?" I asked. "Yes, of course. Do you need me to come earlier?" "3's fine. Making pot roast. Your mother's recipe." "Okay." Her voice was small, young, like when she was little and scared of thunderstorms. "I love you, Dad." "Love you too, sweetheart." I hung up, drank my coffee. It was good. Margaret would have approved. The next few days were quiet. Derek didn't call, didn't text. Amanda sent one message. "Our attorney will be in touch." I didn't respond. Sarah came Sunday. We had pot roast. She brought her kids. Emily was 9, Jake was 7. They ran through the house like Margaret had always hoped kids would, playing hide and seek, fighting over who got to sit in Grandpa's chair. Normal kid stuff. After dinner, after the kids had gone outside to play in the yard, Sarah sat across from me at the table. "I don't want you to think I'm taking this because I want the money," she said. "I don't think that. And I don't want you to think that I was trying to be the favorite, or playing some game. I know. I just wanted to see you, that's all. I wanted the kids to know their grandpa. They do." She looked down at her coffee. "Derek called me last night. He was really angry." "I imagine. He said I manipulated you. Said I played the grieving widower card. Made you feel sorry for me after the divorce. Do you think that's what happened?" "No. I mean, I don't know." "Did I?" I reached across the table, took her hand. "You showed up. That's all you did. You called. You visited. You brought the kids. You acted like I mattered. You do matter. Derek didn't think so. Not until he found out the house wasn't his." She was quiet. Then, "He's going to fight this. The transfer. Amanda already found 3 lawyers who specialize in estate disputes. Let him. Dad, I have documentation, medical evaluations, legal statements, witnesses. I made sure everything was clean. But it's going to be expensive. Legal fees, court costs. I have money." She looked up. "What money? You gave so much to Derek? The wedding, the business, the down payment?" "I gave him $125,000 over 6 years. That's true." Dad, that's so much." "Not compared to what I kept." "What do you mean?" I got up, went to my office, the small room off the kitchen that used to be Margaret's sewing room, came back with a folder, different from the one I'd shown Derek. "Your mother and I were careful," I said. "We saved, invested, nothing fancy, just steady. Index funds, bonds, some dividend stocks. Okay. When she got sick, she made me promise I wouldn't spend it all on treatment. Said she'd rather go peaceful than bankrupt. I didn't listen at first. Spent $68,000 on specialists, clinical trials, experimental treatments." I opened the folder. "Didn't make a difference. She died. Anyway." "Dad." After she passed, I looked at what was left, what we'd built together. 43 years of work. Saving. Planning for retirement we thought we'd have together. I pulled out a statement. "This is what's left." Sarah looked at the number, went pale. "That's $847,000, as of Friday." I thought, "Derek said you were broke, running out." That's what I let him think, because every time he knew I had money, he found a reason to need some. "But you gave him so much." "I gave him what I could afford to lose, what I was willing to gamble on the chance he'd become someone who didn't need my money." I closed the folder. I was wrong. Jesus. The house is worth $420, paid off, plus what's in these accounts. "You'll be fine. The kids will be fine." I made sure. "Dad, I can't. You already have. It's done. The house is in your name. The investment accounts have you listed as beneficiary. My will is updated. Everything's in order." She was crying now. Really crying. "Why?" "Because you're my daughter. Because you showed up. Because when your mother was dying, you were there. Every day. Reading to her. Brushing her hair. Holding her hand while I fell apart. She was my mom. And I'm your father. This is what fathers do." They take care of their children, the ones who act like children instead of creditors. She came around the table, hugged me, held on tight. She smelled like Margaret's shampoo. Same brand, same scent. "Derek's going to lose his mind," she said into my shoulder. "Probably. He'll fight harder. Try to prove you were coerced or let him try." She pulled back, looked at me. "You're sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." Derek's lawyer called Wednesday. His name was Stephen Carrington. He had a smooth voice, professional, the kind of voice that charged $400 an hour. "Mr. Hayes," he said, "I'm calling regarding the property transfer executed on September 14th of last year." "Okay. My clients, Derek and Amanda Hayes, have concerns about the circumstances surrounding that transfer." "What concerns?" "They believe you may have been experiencing diminished capacity at the time. Grief-related cognitive impairment, given that the transfer occurred less than 6 months after your wife's passing. I have a cognitive evaluation dated a week before the transfer. Clean bill of health." Pause. "Yes, we're aware. However, my clients maintain that you were emotionally vulnerable, that Sarah may have exerted undue influence." "By doing what? Visiting me? Calling me?" "Mr. Hayes, I understand this is difficult, but we have testimony from Derek indicating that Sarah was the primary caregiver after your wife's death, that she had significant access and opportunity to influence your decisions. She was there because Derek wasn't." Another pause. "Be that as it may, my clients are prepared to file a petition to set aside the transfer. We believe we have grounds to demonstrate undue influence and questionable competency." "Then file." "I'm sorry?" "File your petition. Take me to court. Bring your testimony. I'll bring mine. Mr. Hayes, litigation is expensive, time-consuming, stressful. Perhaps we could discuss a settlement, some arrangement that would satisfy all parties." "What kind of arrangement?" "Derek is willing to accept a partition of the property value. 50-50 split between him and Sarah. He feels that's equitable given his status as your son and primary heir." "Primary heir?" "Yes. As the eldest child and only son." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "Tell Derek no. Mr. Hayes, tell him the house is Sarah's. The investments are Sarah's. Everything I have goes to Sarah. He got his share already, $125,000 worth. That was gift money, not an inheritance. Call it what you want. That's what he gets. We will be filing the petition. Do what you need to do, Mr. Carrington." I hung up. Sarah called an hour later. "Derek's lawyer called me." "Me too. He offered me a deal. Said if I agree to split everything 50-50, they'll drop the lawsuit." "What did you tell him?" "That I needed to talk to you first." "What do you want to do?" She was quiet for a long time. Then, "I want to tell him to go to hell." "Yeah?" "Yeah. This isn't about money. This is about—" She stopped, started again. "He didn't even ask how you were. After Mom died, he didn't ask if you were eating, if you were sleeping, if you needed anything. He showed up to take inventory, figure out what he'd get when you died too. Sarah, I'm not splitting anything with him. He can take us to court, he can fight, but I'm not giving him half of something you gave to me because I was there, because I loved Mom, because I love you." My throat was tight. "Okay. Okay? Okay. We fight. It's going to get ugly. Probably. He's going to say terrible things. About both of us." "Let him," she laughed. Small, sad. "Mom would hate this. Your mother would have transferred the house herself if she'd lived long enough to see how Derek turned out." "Maybe." We were quiet. I could hear the kids in the background on her end, fighting about something, loud, normal. "I should go," she said. "Jake just hit Emily with a couch cushion." "Go. I'll talk to you tomorrow." "Love you, Dad." "Love you too." The petition was filed Friday. Sarah's lawyer, a woman named Patricia Chen, who specialized in estate litigation, called me Saturday morning. "Mr. Hayes, I've reviewed the filing. It's comprehensive. They're alleging undue influence, diminished capacity, and financial elder abuse. Can they prove any of that?" That's what we need to discuss. They're requesting medical records, bank statements, phone logs. They want to build a timeline of Sarah's involvement in your life post your wife's death. Let them. The timeline will show she was there frequently. That could support their narrative. It'll also show Derek wasn't. True, but they're going to argue that his absence was because Sarah monopolized your time, created dependence. That's ridiculous. I agree, but we need to be prepared. Do you have documentation, proof of Derek's pattern of financial requests, evidence that you are acting independently? I have everything. Everything. Bank statements going back 8 years, every transfer to Derek, every loan, every emergency he never paid back, text messages, emails, voicemails. I kept it all. Silence. Then, why? Because I knew this might happen. Not exactly this, but something. Derek had a pattern. Take what he could. Justify it. Never look back. I figured eventually there'd be a reckoning. Mr. Hayes, if you have that documentation, their case is going to fall apart. Good. I'll need copies of everything. Can you bring it to my office Monday? I'll be there at 9. Monday morning, I showed up at Patricia's office with 3 banker's boxes. Every statement, every text, every piece of evidence I'd collected over 6 years of watching my son treat me like an inheritance. Patricia went through it for 3 hours, didn't say much, just made notes, organized papers, built timelines. Finally, she looked up. This is comprehensive. I'm thorough. December 2021. Derek texts you asking for $5,000, says it's an emergency. You transfer it same day. He never says thank you. That's right. March 2022. He asks for $8,000, car repairs. You transfer it within an hour. 3 weeks later, Amanda posts photos on Facebook of their vacation to Cancun. I saw that. June 2022. He needs $12,000. Says the business is struggling, needs cash flow. You transfer it. The business closes 2 months later. He never mentions paying you back. Never did. Patricia kept going, building the case, showing the pattern. By noon, she had a timeline that made Derek look exactly like what he was. A son who treated his father like a bank. They're going to say you're bitter, she said, that you kept this information to use against him later. Maybe I am bitter. Are you? I thought about it. Yeah, I am. I'm bitter that my son cared more about my money than my company. I'm bitter that he sold his mother's car without asking. I'm bitter that he showed up to sell my house while I'm still living in it. Good. Hold on to that. Because when we get to court, you're going to need it. The deposition was scheduled for April. Derek's lawyer took 3 hours asking me questions designed to make me look incompetent, confused, or manipulated. Mr. Hayes, in the months after your wife's death, did you experience depression? Yes. Did you seek treatment? No. Why not? Didn't need it. I was grieving. That's normal. Did the grief affect your judgment? No. Did it affect your decision-making? My decision-making was fine. But you were emotionally vulnerable. I was sad. That's different. Did Sarah encourage you to transfer the house? No. She didn't know about it until after. Did she suggest that Derek wasn't visiting enough? She didn't have to. I could count. Mr. Hayes, Derek visited twice after Margaret died, Christmas and Easter, each time for about 90 minutes. Sarah visited every week, sometimes twice a week. I didn't need anyone to point out the difference. Stephen shifted in his seat. Your son maintains that Sarah created a hostile environment, that she made him feel unwelcome. How? By monopolizing your time, by being there constantly, by showing up, by calling, by acting like she cared. Mr. Hayes, please. Derek didn't visit because he didn't want to, not because Sarah was there. He came to Christmas because he felt obligated. He came to Easter because Amanda made him, and he came that Saturday in March to tell me he was selling my house. Those are the only 3 times he's been here in 18 months. The deposition ended shortly after that. Stephen looked frustrated. Patricia looked pleased. You did well, she said in the parking lot. I told the truth. That's what makes it compelling. Derek's deposition was 2 weeks later. I wasn't allowed to attend, but Patricia called me after. He fell apart, she said. What happened? I asked him to list every visit he'd made to your house in the past 2 years. He couldn't, started getting defensive, said he was busy, had work, had responsibilities. And I showed him his own social media, vacations, dinners out, golf trips with friends. He had plenty of time, just not for you. What did he say? That you never asked him to visit, that you seemed fine, that he didn't think you needed him. But he thought I needed Sarah. Apparently that's different, because Sarah inserted herself while he respected your independence. I laughed, bitter. That's a hell of a spin. It's desperation. His lawyer knows the case is falling apart. They're going to try to settle. I don't want to settle. I know, but be prepared. They're going to make another offer. She was right. 3 days later, Stephen called. Mr. Hayes, my clients are willing to drop the lawsuit in exchange for a 20% share of the estate. No. 20% is more than fair. It acknowledges Derek's relationship while preserving the majority of the estate for Sarah. He gets nothing. Mr. Hayes, I have to advise you that if this goes to trial, your relationship with your son will be irreparably damaged. It's already damaged. He tried to sell my house while I was living in it. He was trying to help. He was trying to cash out. This is your son. I know who he is. Do you? Silence. Then, we'll see you in court. The trial was set for June. Patricia spent 8 weeks preparing. We went through every document, every transfer, every text message and email. Built a case that showed exactly who Derek was and who Sarah was. The day before trial, Sarah came to the house. Are you sure? She asked. We were sitting in the kitchen, same table, same chairs. Once we do this, there's no going back. I'm sure. He's your son. He stopped being my son when he started being my creditor. People can change. Has he? She didn't answer. Has he called? I asked. Since all this started? Has he asked how you are, how the kids are? Has he done anything except fight for money he thinks he's owed? No. Then nothing's changed. The trial lasted 3 days. Derek's lawyer called witnesses, friends who testified that I'd seemed confused after Margaret's death, distant, sad. They painted me as a grieving widower who'd been manipulated by his daughter. Patricia called her witnesses. My doctor, who testified I'd shown no signs of cognitive decline. My accountant, who walked through every financial transaction and showed a clear pattern of Derek taking and Sarah giving. My neighbor Barbara, who'd lived 3 doors down for 20 years and had watched Derek's visits go from monthly to quarterly to almost never. On the 3rd day, I took the stand. Derek's lawyer asked the same questions he'd asked at the deposition, tried to make me look confused, bitter, vindictive. Mr. Hayes, isn't it true that you're punishing Derek for not visiting enough? No. Then why did you transfer the house to Sarah? Because she was there. But if Derek had visited more, would you have included him in your estate plan? If Derek had visited because he cared instead of because he wanted something, we wouldn't be here. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. Patricia's turn. She asked simple questions. Let me tell the story. Why did you give Derek money over the years? Because he asked. Because Margaret said family helps family. Because I thought eventually he'd become someone who didn't need my money. Did he? No. Why did you transfer the house to Sarah? Because when Margaret died, Sarah was there. When I couldn't sleep, she called. When I couldn't eat, she brought food. When the house felt too empty, she brought the kids. She showed up. Not because she wanted something, because she loved me. And Derek? Derek showed up when he needed money, or when he felt obligated, or when he wanted to sell my house. The jury was out for 6 hours. They came back with a verdict. No undue influence. No diminished capacity. No financial elder abuse. The transfer was valid. The house was Sarah's. We walked out of the courthouse into June sunshine. Sarah was crying. Patricia was smiling. My phone buzzed. Text from Derek. I hope you're happy. You just destroyed our family. I deleted it. Didn't respond. Another text. Mom would be ashamed of you. I blocked his number. Sarah drove me home. We didn't talk much. Didn't need to. What? Now? She asked when we pulled into the driveway. Now we have Sunday dinner, like always. Derek's going to tell people terrible things about both of us. Let him. The family's going to take sides. They already have. She looked at the house, the one I'd built in 1976, the one Margaret had loved, the one that now belonged to her daughter. I'm going to keep it, she said. The house. Not sell it. Not yet. Okay. Maybe we could. The kids and I could move in. If that's okay. You'd stay in the master bedroom. We'd take the upstairs. It's big enough. And the kids love it here. I looked at my daughter, 40 years old, single mom, working full-time and raising 2 kids, showing up every Sunday, calling every week, being there. Yeah, I said. That'd be good. She smiled. Okay. They moved in August. Emily took the room that used to be Derek's. Jake took Sarah's old room. Sarah took the guest room. I stayed in the master bedroom. Margaret's clothes were still in the closet. I'd moved some, donated some, kept the rest. Some mornings I still reached for 2 cups. Derek didn't call, didn't text after I blocked him. Amanda sent one email, said I was a bitter old man who'd torn apart the family out of spite. I didn't respond. His friends stopped talking to me. Some of Margaret's friends too. Chose sides. Believed Derek's version. The one where I was confused and Sarah was manipulative and he was the victim. But Barbara still came over for coffee on Wednesdays. My buddy from the plant, Tom, still called every Sunday to talk about the game. Sarah's friends became my friends. The house filled up with noise again. Kids running. Homework at the kitchen table. Family dinners. Normal stuff. One night in October, Jake came downstairs. Couldn't sleep. I was sitting in the living room, reading. Grandpa? Hey, buddy. Can I ask you something? Sure. Mom said Uncle Derek is mad at you. He is. Why? I set down my book, thought about how to explain it to a 7-year-old. Sometimes people think they're owed things, I said, even when they're not. And when they don't get what they think they deserve, they get angry. Is he mad because you gave Mom the house? Yeah, but it's your house. You can give it to whoever you want. That's right. So why is he mad? Because he thought it was his. Jake thought about that. That's dumb. I smiled. Yeah, it is. I'm glad we live here now. I like living with you. I like it too, buddy. He went back to bed. I sat there in the quiet house. Margaret's chair across from me. Empty, but not lonely. The house was full again. The way it was supposed to be. If you like this story, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions in the comments. To listen to more stories, click on the window on the right. Thank you for being with us.